Welcome back, watch people. So I'm here today with my good friend Danny. He's over from Spain and he's in beautiful Brighton. Not quite so beautiful today, Dan, but it's not bad, is it?
That's all right, mate. It's not too hot to do a video, is it?
No, not at all. Do you miss being here at all in England?
Yeah, there's certain little bits and bobs you miss. You know, you miss the supermarkets are very, very good here. You know, out in Spain they're a little bit more of a challenge to get what you want. I miss, to be fair, a little bit of overcast weather because it's been 40, 45 degrees, quite regular out there for quite some time.
Yeah.
So coming back here, it was you know, coming down in temperature a little bit of rain. It's quite nice to see it after a while. You know, you do miss it a little bit.
Let's do a quick wristwatch check. I've got me James Cameron Deep Sea Sea Dweller on today. What are you wearing, mate?
Got a Yachtmaster 2, the gold 116628.
That's a proper rifle, isn't it?
Heavy thing, you know. Same size, isn't it? They're both 44 mil.
Yeah, beautiful watch.
Heavy thing.
To be honest with you, the Yachtmaster 2 is really the only Yachtmaster that does it for me.
Yeah, I agree. I had the bimetal one recently, but I never really picked that up over the full gold one. So I've traded that on now, and I part exchanged it for a newish, well, a last year of production Hulk, which was a nice thing.
So I've got a few things to talk about today. One of them is quite big and might come as a bit of a surprise to you. But I think you got a few things you was going to talk to me about today, Dan, and I said, well, let's do it on camera.
Absolutely. You've been talking recently about possibly the you know, in the near future or medium term future that you're going to possibly think about moving abroad. Spain's been mentioned.
Yeah.
What's brought you to that conclusion to go to Spain?
Well, I think the first thing is that, you know, a lot of people after I mentioned it are saying, oh, when you're going, like it's going to be next week.
Yeah,
you don't make decisions like that and move in a couple of weeks or even.
It's a minimum of a year to 2 years really,
exactly.
planning. Yeah.
So I mean, the situation is that we've got, or my wife has got elderly parents, one of whom is really unwell, as most people will know, and you know, we're committed to them for the moment. We're committed to them.
Understand that.
But ultimately, when the time comes, then that's when we'll be making our move. You know, obviously, I hope that's as long as possible.
Yeah.
But you know, realistically, you have to look at our futures, and I just feel that. I don't want to be too controversial, Dan, you know, but because I love the UK, I love England. You know, if I move out of the south of England, I feel like I'm abroad. You know, I'm a proper South London boy.
Yeah, I get that.
I love living here in Brighton. I think it's one of the best places that I've ever lived in my life. And I would miss leaving it. But there are elements of this country now that just drive me to despair. You know, healthcare, the laws, the lack of policing, the crime, criminality. You know, you dial 999, you can't get an ambulance. You know, your father-in-law needs an operation, you can't get it.
Yeah.
And then of course we got a lot of other problems with people arriving here illegally, which also, you know, I've got to admit, drives me a little bit mad. I walk around a lot in the streets here, and there's plenty of youngsters that are living on the streets, not getting any help. So more than anything, Dan, I would say it's not really for me. You know, me and my wife, we can live out our lives now and just put any issues to one side.
But you're not going to work day to day, are you? You're not living, you can hibernate effectively, couldn't you? And still with your business to what you do.
Yeah, we can do that, Dan, and like, as I say, for me personally, it's really more about my kids and in particular, my grandchildren. You know, I want them to have a safe future in a country that's more prosperous. You know, yes, am I partly to blame? I voted Brexit.
So did I.
You know,
would you again?
Well, look, Dan, this is a situation. I would if we had the right people in charge of implementing it.
And we haven't.
And we haven't had the right. It's like putting a Liverpool fan in charge of Everton. It's never going to work. It's like putting an Arsenal fan in charge of Tottenham. It ain't going to work. It was always going to end badly.
Yeah.
Now, you know, look, Brexit, the rights or wrongs of it. I believe firmly in my heart, and I won't have it any other way personally. If you speak to 9 out of 10 people that voted Brexit, they voted Brexit to secure our borders. And the truth,
I agree.
The truth of the matter is, it's worse now than before.
Nothing's changed.
If I'd have known what they were going to do, there was no point in voting for Brexit. I'd have just said, let's carry on as we are.
Yeah.
But people were naively led to believe that big issue, and it is a big issue, a £6 million a day issue, was going to be addressed, and instead of being addressed, it's been encouraged.
Yeah.
So really, Dan, it's more for the future of my grandchildren. I think this country now, you know, look at Greggy boy, right? Greggy and my son-in-law Aaron, they've been trying to set up a watch business.
That's right.
Dan, problem after problem, bank accounts being closed, can't open
They've
one.
not got bad history.
No,
you know,
they get
yeah.
one open and then the bank closes it.
And they're
again.
not asking for credit, Paul.
They're not asking for anything, Dan.
They're not asking for credit.
You know, I look up here, right? There's 2 lanes up here, right, for traffic. This is a very, very busy road. About 2 years ago, they decided to turn half the road into bikes only. And there's already a bike lane on the pavement.
You sound like Jeremy Clarkson.
Well, mate, what is the frigging point, Dan?
true.
I mean, there's a million cars out there and a dozen bikes.
Yeah, that's right. And you're finding that a lot of the time now on the big roads. You've got a massive queue, and it's sort of, you know, on your sat nav it's all red because it's, you know, it's going to take you 2 hours to get down a mile straight.
Yeah.
And then you've got a lane that's completely empty. But if you go in it, you get fined.
It's just absolutely
control,
ridiculous, you know.
A lot of it's about control.
And I think what we got now in the UK is a whole lot of frustrated people. I mean, we won't mention them, it wouldn't be fair, but we've just been in a couple of shops, people that I know, and we've just been having a chat. And what's the first thing they dive into? The first topic of conversation is, I've had enough of this place, it's driving me mad, the rent's gone up, the council tax has gone up, they're bleeding me dry for this, for that. Everyone seems to be frustrated and unhappy.
Yeah, see, I don't notice that so much in Spain. I mean, I live in a reasonably big property in Spain. My council tax is a quarter of what it, or less than a quarter of what it would be here. Although I'm fortunate enough to I've installed solar panels. I run my house completely on electric. My bills are between £35 and £60 a month, euro.
Well,
like
to give you an
euros.
idea, Dan, that figure that you mentioned earlier on for your council tax for the year is not far short of what mine is a month.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just feel that we're being taxed and bled dry to pay for things that nobody asked us for that permission.
Let's be blatantly honest. No one wants.
That no one wants.
No.
You know, I mean, like, you know, we're all human beings, and you know, we care about other people, and I'll do my best for anyone. And when you look at the Ukrainian situation, you know, those people in Ukraine, those men, the Ukrainian men were leaving the UK to go back home and fight.
Yeah, you're right.
And they were sending their women and children to the UK so they were
Protect them.
safe.
Absolutely.
But at the moment, we've got a situation that is completely the opposite, and I worry that this country's going to explode before long. I don't know how much more.
On the way here today,
gonna
Paul, I had
take
an hour and a half, hour and 50 minutes drive here. I had to pull over. I hit a pothole that was the size of a swimming pool.
Yeah, yeah.
And it really did. I actually pulled over because I thought there's no way that there would be a puncture at least out of this. And I pulled over, and who knows, when I go back to the car in a minute, there might be a puncture where it was a slow puncture. But it was such a thud. And you look at it, and they're everywhere now. The potholes are everywhere. There's no money going in.
Yeah.
Old Sadiq Khan now, unfortunately, he's, you know, expanding the ULEZ zone.
Yeah.
And they're not. I know that's nothing to do with road maintenance, because isn't that to do with your road tax and stuff. But there's no money being reinvested. No. They just seem to be trying to tax the hell out of absolutely everybody, make them have absolutely nothing. I mean, the poor people now, they're trying to pay their £400 or £500 a month gas and electric bills.
Yeah.
There's 3 or 4 times their food bill's gone up 30-40%. Their electricity, their gas, their petrol. You know, there's higher taxation. There's a load of stealth taxes coming in.
Bled dry.
That's
everywhere.
exactly what's happening. And I believe it's deliberate, Paul. There's no way this is a mistake.
I mean, when you look at when you talk about the potholes, the new law, the new one now is to get around the fact that if someone has an accident, you know, the council can be liable, or whatever, highways, etc. So the new one now is if they spray a white circle around
it says it's going to be done, or you're supposed to see,
done, and that exempts them from any. You know, if you're driving or if you're riding a motorbike, you're supposed to spot that.
Yeah, whilst looking for all the speed cameras and the road signs and the
But that's why, Dan. I mean, I don't think that I've ever been as frustrated as I am right now in general. You know, I worry about the children's future.
Yeah.
And the lawlessness.
Yeah.
I was listening to the radio this morning. Get this. In 2/3, this is an amazing stat, Dan. Amazing stat. In 2/3 of England and Wales, there was not one arrest for burglary in the last 2 years. Not a single arrest, not a single arrest for burglary in 2/3 of England and Wales.
That's just a scary statistic, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, if that's right, that is well, that's disgusting. I'm very pro-police. I don't want to come across as anti-police because I'm not. I'm very pro-police, but the system is breaking them up. Yeah. When they get the arrest, the CPS chuck it out, and it's as simple as that. It's case closed. Which must be soul destroying for the police that are really trying to solve these crimes. But the people in charge are sending them out 20, 30 at a time, standing on the roadside, pulling people over for not having a seatbelt on. At the end of the day, those people should be out solving crime, walking the beat, deterring crime. But everything seems to be going wrong here, Paul.
Well, I think the other thing, Dan, as well is, and again, I'm a big advocate of the police. I've got numerous friends that are serving right now in the police force and have retired from. So, look, I'm definitely not anti-police.
No.
What I am is the anti-police recruitment policy of the last 10 years at least, probably longer. I was talking to Peter Bletchley, who is very well known. He's on, a lot of mainstream TV.
Yeah, I spoke to him on one of your lives recently.
Great guy.
Yeah.
And, he says the same thing, that the recruitment of the police, people joining the police over the last few years has been really, really poor.
Yeah.
And I think when you look at that case of that 16-year-old autistic girl that was arrested, took 7 of them to bully and arrest, handcuff a young disturbed child of 16 years old who suffers. And
let's
from
not forget,
autism.
she is a child at 16 as well.
16,
yeah.
And all because she called the one of the police officers by name. That isn't politically
Which aren't
correct.
they supposed to stay impartial?
Well,
you shouldn't be offended if.
I don't want to live in a country like that.
No, so
I just don't want to live in a country.
I understand that, and I think, and I'm going to be honest, I think it will get worse before it gets better, if it ever gets better.
Well,
it will get a lot worse.
You know who I blame? I'll tell you who I blame. I blame all of us. Right?
Yeah, because we're not standing up.
We don't stand up. We don't stand up for ourselves. We're a nation of arm all right jacks. A
lot of the time, Paul, the media's involved in all this because the government will say to the media, we're going to put, let's say income tax up by 10%. And then everyone's up in arms about it because they've read it in the newspaper, they've seen it on Sky News, they've seen it on the BBC or the main media.
Yeah.
And then when it only goes up 5% or 4%, you're happy, you go, that was handy because we was expecting it to go up 10%. They dilute you with the news. And people that are watching the mainstream news is
I just wonder what it will take. I just wonder what it will take for the people of this country to stand up and say, we've had enough. We've had enough. We've had enough for the Tories. We've had enough of the Labour Party, because I've used this analogy before, Dan, right? It's like going out with a girlfriend that cheats on you. You get rid of her, you find a new girlfriend, she cheats on you as well, and you decide to go back to the first girlfriend that cheated on you, because that's all these politicians do.
That's exactly right.
Is they lie and they cheat, and it doesn't matter.
And being caught out loads as well, aren't they? Exactly. They're all being caught out, and yet we still put up with it.
Exactly.
We still put up with it. So what if you do move to Spain, be it in a year or 2 years' time? Because it's going to take some preparation as well. It's going to take
a couple of years at
least. You
least,
can always start looking for your property out there to get a bit of an idea. Yeah.
We're looking now.
And buy even. I mean, if you know it's going to be your forever home and you want to buy something, so be it. You don't have to move to it straight away. You can use it as a holiday home for a year or two.
Yeah, we're looking now.
What is your plan to do work-wise? Are you going to carry on with your channel?
Well, it's funny you should say that. I suppose that's one of the reasons I said let's talk about this, because this might come as a bit of a bombshell to people, actually, if that's what you can call it. But when Digital Watch Vault has been launched and is up and is running, I set out in my YouTube career to change the watch world for better forever. I've always spoken about a man who's remembered on what he leaves as a legacy, etc. And I've spent the last 4 years, I think it is now, trying to help the watch community, trying to make it a better, safer place. Digital Watch Vault will be the culmination of that. That will be the crowning glory for me.
Yeah.
Dan, I think once that is launched and it's done and it's settled in, I think my job is done within the watch YouTube space. I think I've done all I need to do. I've probably done all I can do. And I think the time will have come, not in the not too distant future, where I either pull away from social media altogether and just go back to my family life, because I'll have achieved what I wanted to achieve, or I can carry on with my youth, which I think is the more likely scenario.
Yeah.
I think I enjoy doing the social media,
Yeah.
but I would pivot to doing other things. You know, still do a bit of watch content, but I'd like to do stuff.
Come
on
away
cars.
from the watches a little.
Yeah, stuff on cars, bikes.
Yeah.
You know, I did a video on
Life in Spain.
Life in Spain. You know, because there is another side to me that I've never really shown my audience the other side of Paul. You know, and the other side of me is that I'm actually quite a funny person. I think I've got a good sense of humour.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
But I'm really able to articulate that on the channel, because like most of my topics are quite serious.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You know, there are a lot of things that I'd like to do something that's fun then, you know, because for the last 4 years I've been talking about negatives, and most of my videos are like, be careful because of this, watch out for that. I'd like my channel to become a lot more, and not only entertaining, but a lot more diverse and a lot more fun.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I agree.
about older guys' lifestyle as well. I think I've got a good, strong, middle-aged and upwards audience.
Yeah.
A lot of sensible people. You know, I mentioned that I bought a motorhome. I can't tell you how many people have wrote to me and said, "Oh, I'd love to see you do more on the motorhomes."
I think that would be a good thing, especially again, if you move to Spain, you could go out and do a little, even
Yeah.
if you've got your base, you can go out, do a little bit of travelling, go up to Barcelona, you go up to Madrid, you can go to Portugal, Italy, France, you name it, go anywhere with it and take the camera and just record a bit of footage, upload it, and you know, that's very diverse then, you know?
Well, I'm fortunate, Dan, because I've got friends in so many good industries. You know, I've got many friends in the motor industry, in the boating industry, luxury lifestyle in general, planes, private jets. I've got friends in all sorts of different industries that
you could go and do some content with.
I can do content with them.
Yeah.
So I think the answer to your question is I'll almost certainly carry on, but I do now see an end in sight for my watch YouTube career, as in like, well, that's all that I do.
Don't stop it completely, but like you say, how many times can we talk about a Rolex Datejust? You know, you can't make a video every 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks on just a Rolex Datejust, and unfortunately, you have got to mention the word Rolex all the time, or it doesn't get the views, the hits. Yeah. You know, there's so many other watch brands out there you can talk about, but they just don't seem to get the...
It's a waste of time, in all honesty.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, look, I would say that for me, I set out to achieve something. I think I've almost achieved it now. When Digital Watch Vault is launched, up and running, and he's settled in, that could take 3 months, it could take six months, it could take a year.
Yeah, you've got to launch it, haven't you?
But yeah, I mean, once the launch is up and running and it's established, I think that I've done my job. I've done what I set out to do. I've, paid any debt to the community that my family name perhaps owed. I've paid that back in abundance, and then I'm free to move on potentially and do something else.
But I tried your platform the other day, the Digital Watch platform, because you sent me a link to sort of give it a test up and a bit of a run.
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic. I mean, when people actually try and use it, it's very easy to use, very, very user friendly, and as I say, seems absolutely fantastic at the moment.
Well, that's the hope, and hopefully we can make the watch world a safer place. But that's where I am at the moment. You know, whether it's I love it here. I'm gonna when I do leave.
But you can come back. It's only
back.
2.5 hours, especially where I'm living. Yeah. It's only 2.5 hours on a plane. I come back relatively regularly now. I mean, a lot of the time it's coming back for watch stuff and bits and bobs, because I enjoy my watches like yourself. It's not the other end of it. It's not Australia. It's not you haven't got to come back for 3 weeks. I'll pop back sometimes for 3 or 4 days, and you can always get back here. You can stay in a hotel in Brighton and you're back in your hometown,
Just in case anyone gets the wrong idea of what I've said about living here these days, I mean, I would say, to sum up, the main 2 reasons that I think it's time to take my family somewhere else. The main 2 reasons are A, healthcare.
Yeah, it's very good in
Spain.
Spain.
That's probably the most vital one. I think the healthcare is now a critical point.
Yeah.
And the second one is law and order.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not that I don't feel safe. I just don't feel there are you know, if I call the police down because I need them, I just got no faith in them whatsoever.
When was the last time you see a bobby walking along with an hat on? I mean, I don't remember. I've been back to the UK quite a few times recently. I was in London quite a bit in the last week or so. I don't think I saw one.
No.
In fact, I don't think I saw a police car on the road.
We've been pretty much left to police ourselves, you know, and this is why, you know, when you look at crime statistics, they're so high. The politicians will say that crime has been cut.
Yeah.
But what's been cut is the list of criminal activities. For an example, we all know that stealing from a supermarket now, I don't know if you saw this last week, but stealing from a supermarket has pretty much been decriminalised.
Yeah.
To the point where people are now walking into the co-op, doing their week shopping and just walking out of it. The staff aren't allowed to physically touch them. If they call the police, they don't come. So it's a matter of they are relying on people's honesty. You know, my wife come home from the supermarket the other day, she said, I can't believe it, there's people in there just filling their bags up and walking out. You know, so what are they going to do?
Yeah.
You call the police and they're not going to come.
Yeah.
And the saying, Dan, is if someone comes to your home tonight and burgles you or threatens you, you're in a position where you have no backup.
You have to deal with it yourself.
No faith in the backup, and there's the other crux of the matter. You say you have to deal with it yourself. Well, one thing that you can be sure, if you defend yourself
I know what you're going to say.
and make a mess of a person that's trying to rob you, they'll find someone to nick then, and it won't be them, it will be you. And I can't live that way, Dan.
No, you can't. No, it's very true. It's very, very true, mate. You can't live like that.
So, it's clouded over, mate. You'll be wanting to go back to Spain, look.
Yeah, I need to go on I might bring my flight forward, actually.
Yeah,
might jump on the back of one of them seagulls. They
Looking
look
a
big
bit
enough.
grey. We've got the old ship hotel over there to my right, where we had the Brighton Watch
That's
show.
right, about a year ago, wasn't it?
Oh, mate, more than that.
Yeah,
now.
but it was actually, yeah, wasn't it?
Years,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say to me, would you do another show? And do you know what? I actually would. The problem now is that so many of the dealers cannot get insurance to move their stock. That's
I wonder why.
You know, yeah, because of the crime. You know, they can't get the insurance to move their stock from, say, London to Brighton. It's just either too expensive or uninsurable.
Digital Watch Vault can hopefully combat quite a bit of that.
Well, it will help. You know, I mean, definitely, it's going to help. That's the aim. Right, Dan, it's lovely to see you again, brother.
Good to see you, mate.
And, you know, don't be too happy in Spain because you're going to make me jealous.
Keep sending you WhatsApps, mate.
Yeah, I'm looking now. I'm looking all around your area, actually.
Yeah, it's a nice place. The properties are value for money. The crime is quite reasonable. The police are no nonsense. They're talking about the Prime Minister out there. He's going to be ousted. He's gone a little bit soft on crime, Sanchez. He's gone a little bit soft on crime, but they're trying to deal with that. I don't think he'll get in for another term. And, you know, it's not expensive to live in Spain. You know, you go and buy a coffee in Spain in a restaurant or a cafe or something, €1.50, €1.60. I went in Costa the other day and it was about £6 for a nice coffee. You know, it's not expensive to live in Spain. You can have a nice lifestyle. You're not always inside because it's not raining. In fact, it doesn't rain enough, to be fair. So it's an outside life, you know, and you don't need a lot of money. I'm talking about for everyone. You know, if you've got, obviously, because we're in Brexit, we've got the residency issues. You can only be there for 90 days in 180 until you apply for your residency. But there's ways and means of doing that. There's people that do that for you. And look, as a whole, the lifestyle is certainly more relaxed, more laid back. There's certainly, for you, there'll be a lot more availability to film content and stuff. Look, it's not for everyone. It really isn't. But for me and my family, it's right.
It's worked out.
Absolutely, 100%. You know, and my elderly father comes out to me quite a lot, so I've not got that on my mind all the time. He can jump on a plane, he gets assistance there. I pick him up the other end, no problems with that. So it can be, you know, it can be done. You can always. There's people that will always say I'd love to do it and will always make an excuse not to do it because it's easy to carry on day to day, innit? Yeah. You know.
All right, lovely, Dan. Thanks a lot, mate. I'll see you soon, and yeah, good luck.
Thanks, mate. See you soon.
Mate.